Hey everyone, I'm hopping on here to tell you about the last call for wake up, when that is going to happen, what's going to happen after that, when that is going to happen, and what we can do in the meantime while we wait, as well as another future fun thing that we can look forward to. So Fire the Grid is happening again on February the 21st at 11:07 a.m. GMT. And the relevance that CE-5 has to Fire the Grid is that Samoiya Shelley Yates, who had a near-death experience in 2002, drowned in a lake and met some extraterrestrial, multidimensional light beings. And they have been guiding her ever since and giving her messages to pass on to humanity to help ease our way through this really tumultuous and chaotic time that we've been going through, which has been an unprecedented time in human history. And all of the ETs from all over the multiverse or wherever they're coming from are here, and they're just on the edges of their seats and watching. And I've heard this from many different sources that it is like a parking lot full to the brim of ET spacecraft or geometrical light body transport, Merkabas, or whatever it is that they use to get here. But everybody is waiting and watching to see what the humans are going to do next and how they're going to transition into the fifth field. Also, there's a connection between CE-5 and Fire the Grid through the people that Samoiya has met as she has gone along her journey of figuring out what she's doing as a messenger here on Earth. And she has met Costa McCreese, James Gilliland, and Stephen Greer, who have all given her lots of really good advice and help as she has tried to sort herself out. And I also met Anna Yal, who is the original Fire the Grid organizer from 2007, 2009, and 2011. Through CE-5. So I knew her as a CE-5 organizer in Montreal for like the last decade. And it was through her that I met Samoiya and was able to connect with her to help her with the project to bring her message to the people this time later in Samoiya's journey. I 100% appreciate people who are really skeptical, and I want to give a little bit of information here to help people who are doubting all of the different experiences or channelings or, energy sensations or whatever it is that somebody has advanced in her abilities as Samoiya is, which we all can do and just need to practice and maybe practice a little harder because Samoiya had a near-death experience. And so that seemed to be like a really big catalyst in terms of how she is able to connect with the multidimensional extraterrestrial light beings. I will direct you to a video, one of my favorite videos in the talk series, The Path of Humanity, that we put together for the Fire the Grid YouTube page. So it's up there somewhere. You can listen to the proofs that she has to share. You could listen to the very first part, which also goes over the near-death experience, what happened, the 7 neurologists who came to try to figure out why this miracle happened. It's just a series of incredible proofs that have happened over many, many years. And I can personally say from knowing Samoiya so well now that I 100% believe everything that she has told me about her life and her experiences. And I myself have even had my own proofs connected to the project, which has been really cool. I will put a link to that cute little thing that happened to me a few months ago in the description. So you can check that out. As far as, you saw the picture of the Earth splitting in the intro of this video, I do understand that that is quite a wild concept. And I myself am not 100% there in terms of like, is that really going to happen? I do have complete faith in everything that Samoiya has brought forth already. And so if there's like a 5 or 10% chance that something like that were not to happen, I definitely reserve the right to be skeptical about it. And it is so difficult to wrap your mind around something like that. So I would just invite somebody else who is also skeptical to just put your skepticism in a little box to the side and just roll with the ideas that are coming out of the Fire the Grid project and what the light beings are suggesting to see if they're beneficial for you, regardless of whether or not, say, the universe goes into a mitosis and splits into 2. So just wanted to give a little bit of an acknowledgement to skeptical people, because I really feel that CE-5 is a place where skeptical people do magnetize towards. And I think it's a really wonderful way for people to get like actual confirmation of multiple witness undeniable sightings of some kind of intelligence in the skies. So yeah, check out the proof video. I'm not going to go over the history of Fire the Grid. You can check that out in the talk series. Everything is completely laid out there, and Samoiya is a genius storyteller, so you don't want to miss it. There's a link to that there. Go watch that and enjoy. So I will tell you about the last call for wake up, or the vote, which is what this Fire the Grid event is called, and what that means. So Samoiya and I asked the light beings why it was called the last call for wake up. And they said that the date, the February 21st, is basically the moment that the egg is pierced into the jello. And this analogy is talking about how we are being embedded into the fifth field, and that there's a process of settling that's going to happen as this egg is moving and settling into the new kind of field, more aqueous field of the fifth field. Keeping in mind that our understanding of time and like universal or like true reality, whatever time reality, is probably very different. So when the light beings are saying that we are piercing into the fifth field and it's the moment that we enter and that there will be a settling in period, we have to take into account that it's not this like mitosis of the two earths is not going to happen on February the 21st. We know that for sure. Samoiya had said that she feels that this is a voting day, that we can, you know, demonstrate our intention for the world that we want to live in. However, it's like there's going to be an inauguration, actual shift or day of the change, and that's going to be a waiting period between February the 21st and the shift. So what is happening between this first day that the light beings have said that we are entering into the fifth field and the actual shift is a settling out, a sifting in and out of who can be accommodated by the fifth field and who cannot. So this is purely only about vibration. This is only about if you are a joyful, light, forgiving, happy, caring person. This is not about whether or not you've done the work, if you've, you know, attained some kind of like spiritual certificate, if you are part of a dogmatic religion and you believe that you are getting in. There is no judgment. There is actually no problem if somebody is staying with the old field and are moving through another cycle of whatever. I don't understand it, but there's no reason that if you are moving into the fifth field that you should feel superior to anyone else. This is just a step on the journey. And there are many people who are ready for this next leg of the journey and many people who are not. And we believe from the channelings that we have asked the light beings, it sounds like 25% of the earth is in light and 75% is in darkness. And so I would assume that that means that for the shift, 25% of people will be moving on. After February the 21st, is there still a chance for somebody to awaken or have their ascension process triggered? Yeah, we do think that there are going to be still some kind of stragglers who are going to, on an individual basis, come to the information, you know, make sure that they are high frequency enough to move into the fifth field. But for the most part, we think that people have already kind of like filtered into their different camps, and that the people who are already decided to go with the old earth are on their path, and the people that are going to the fifth field are on theirs. This is the last call for wake up in terms of the group assistance that could have been used, because we're so exponentially powerful as a group. I think that this group experience could have really assisted people who were in the kind of mid to low frequency area, who may have wanted to go and have this opportunity to get the boost from the group and could have decided on a conscious level, yes, I would like to have this experience. I think those opportunities are done after February the 21st. However, there may still be a few folks who are making their decisions in the last moments. And of course, everybody has a conscious choice about whether or not to go or not. This is something that the light beings have expressed, that this is going to be presented to each of us, and perhaps to each of us in a different way, because Samoiya has seen different ways of moving into the fifth field, and that the people who are high frequency will get the opportunity. And it doesn't matter if you believe or you don't believe. So good news for skeptics is if you don't believe that it might happen, or you think it might happen, but you're not sure, just get high frequency, as good insurance if you do want to go to the fifth field. So if pretty much everybody has already decided where they're going to land in the next, whoever knows, 5 years, who knows when the shift is going to happen, why would anybody want to participate in this last call for wake up on Tuesday? Well, one of the reasons that is, I think, really important and a really nice thing for people who like to be in service to do is to assist others. And there are a lot of people that are coming to the Fire the Grid movement or just learning about becoming high frequency and starting to practice. And Samoiya has likened the act of getting into like really pure joy moments to a metaphor of the hammer and the bell game at the fair, where you hit the thing with the hammer and then the bell goes up to ring the thing. And people who are already high frequency or who are already adept at, like really cultivating joy within themselves can easily ring the bell. But somebody who is brand new to this may not be able to even get halfway up. But when those people are joining the big group, then they are able to, because of the exponential power of group intention and group coherence and meditation celebration, firing the grid, then every person who is along for the ride on that day is going to have, reached this really high point of high frequency. And part of what the beings said that they were doing at these Fire the Grid events is that they were collecting signatures. So we each have a light and a sound frequency that is unique to each of us in the universe. And when we kind of like hit the bell, then they were going to collect our signatures for some kind of tally. And we're assuming that that tally is for them to keep a record of who it is that is going to the fifth field, who has consciously made the intention to do so, which is the first time that that has ever been given to humanity to participate in this way, like logically with our minds to make a decision. So we think that the collecting of signatures is to make sure that everybody who has participated and who has made the intention does, and the choice gets to go to the fifth field. I think that for, the vast majority of us, we don't have to worry about whether or not our signatures are collected or not, because we're already high frequency people and we're going to just like pass through the mesh of frequency discernment into the fifth field easily, and it's not going to be a big issue. So as far as participating, I would say don't worry about whether or not your signature is collected or not. But if you would like to assist somebody who may want to get to the fifth field, who may not have the energetic juice to get there, then please do participate and help those people join us and have fun in the fifth field. Another really great reason to fire the grid is that we are all individually programming the fifth field as we move forward. Every thought, word, and deed is actually laying down the template or the structure of what it is that we will be participating in once we move into the fifth field. So since we're doing that all individually, and we also understand the power of group intention, group thought, group meditation, group celebration, then it would serve us if we would do things like Fire the Grid or other group meditations or other, group celebrations. As we're going through this waiting period, we have a chance to really program and intentionally create the world that we're going to live in. So we should really be aware of what we are broadcasting out from ourselves. Anyways, if we do this as a group, it is all the more exponential. The law of one doubling effect, look it up. It's really excellent. It really shows how when we really gather together, we are so powerful. And so any chance that you get to fire the grid or some other type of group intention setting, meditation, celebration thing, do it. Along the same lines, because of the power of the group, we are also affecting not just the fifth field, which we are moving into, transitioning into, but also we are affecting the timeline on the way to the fifth field. So the speed at which the events of transition come towards us, as well as the chaos and the different types of things that we are going through, navigating, trying to manage before we get to the fifth field. These are all things that we can affect, especially when we are in a group. So keeping in mind, yes, always trying to attend to your thought, words, and deeds and make sure they are as high frequency as you can in this waiting period before the fifth field. but also taking advantage of the group. How do you fire the grid? It is so simple. Just be in your joy and then say thank you. So the fire the grid hour is really what we're doing as a group together at 11:07 a.m. GMT. That is Greenwich Mean Time on Tuesday morning. However, if you can't do the whole hour or you can't do it at that time, there's a 27-hour window in which you can participate and still be counted as part of the group. So go to the firethegrid.world website where you can get your time in your local area. I can tell you that it's 3:07 California time and 6:07 New York time. I have no idea what time it is in Australia and China and Japan and all of the other places. So you got to check that out yourself. Like I said, links are in the description, as well as a link to somebody asking Samoiya about like, why is it 07 instead of 11:11? Because if you've been with the Fire the Grid project for a really long time, you know that it has always been 11:11 until the last Fire the Grid and this one. So you can check that out. Is this the last Fire the Grid? We believe that it is. We don't know for sure. Perhaps if the light beings come forward with another date for us to fire the grid as a group, then definitely we will bring that information out to the people. However, there seems to be a bit of a, and this is just me personally, like seeing chaos in the world, things falling apart, people not being able to keep it together. It just seems to be really kind of degenerating into a real time of destabilization, like labor of the birth of a new time. So I think that we're just trying to keep it together and move forward in as much harmony as possible, and that the window for having a really great effect on whether or not we can get a whole bunch of people to come with us or not, I think that is pretty much closing down anyways. So now we believe that the focus is going to just be more individually in your families, in your communities, cultivating joy and programming the fifth field as best you can. I will put out, if there's any information further to what the light beings are saying and passing through Samoiya, I will put them out on the Fire the Grid social medias. So check out the Instagram, Facebook, and Telegram places as where I'll put that. We're not doing emails anymore because it's just expensive, but it does seem to be like a winding down of the Fire the Grid project. And we're just moving into the phase of waiting and staying uplifted until we get to the shift. When is the shift going to happen? So Samoiya and I have asked the light beings through channeling as when the shift is going to happen. And they said that about 3 or 4 years was the window that they thought it was going to happen. And then in the very next channeling, they took it all back and they said, no, humans are too volatile for this system, you know, collapsing and the new one being born, whatever it is. There's just no predicting when the shift is going to happen. But I think it is really important to take that information, the 3 or 4 year time frame, and at least come to terms with the fact that the shift is not going to happen within like a month or, you know, even a year or even 2 years. So probably at the outset, you would imagine that something might happen before World Contact Day in 2028. So my advice would be to hunker down, get high frequency, surf the chaos, enjoy your life, do the simple things, do the things that you want to do in the fourth field, in this type of reality that you are not going to have the experience of in the fifth field. We will have our bodies in the fifth field. We will still be in a 3D type of environment, but it will be more aqueous. We'll be able to manifest things. It will be completely positive. So weird as it is, you probably want to really relish some of these negative things that are happening, as well as to really feel into 3D physicality in this realm while you have a chance. As far as what is really going on here, this is kind of a little interesting tidbit that I will share with you, that the light beings did ask for us to gather 22 million participants. And given that Samoiya has been able to gather at least 20 million before, we thought that she might be able to again. But there were just so many different forces and different things that were happening that were really log jamming the ability for Samoiya to stay on the world stage. And there was just a lot. And it just didn't happen. The light beings actually said that they regretted telling us that the goal was 22 million, which was the optimal number of participants to help ease our way into the fifth field in the most ideal way, and to also assist the light beings themselves. So there's some interesting kind of symbiotic assistance that was happening with them helping us and us helping them. However, what they ended up saying after I got like super excited about 22 million people and trying to put this together for that amount of people, and that stressed out Samoiya, and they said, no, just we want to erase it off of the board. This is just a process of calling out one heart at a time, awakening others one heart at a time. So ultimately, yes, we fully understand that, you know, that was just a perhaps lofty goal and may have achieved some kind of a culmination of energy or transition that could not happen otherwise. But they said that it doesn't matter if only 2,000 people are going over to the fifth field. And it sounds like it's going to be much more than that. So that's just an interesting little tidbit about what has been happening in the background in the process of us trying to put this together. Samoiya said in the talk series, I believe it's the episode The Shift, that the mission was a failure to anchor the fourth field. And there are 7 chances for us to anchor the planet or humanity on the planet. I don't fully understand exactly how that works, but we did not. And it doesn't matter whether or not our mission to anchor the fourth field was a success or not, the shift is still happening. And the shift is even still happening with or without humans. So it's happening, and we can kind of like accept and let go of whatever it was that we were trying to accomplish on the planet that did not happen. One of the really positive and great things that I can tell you about this time right now is that the light beings have said that one of the reasons why there are so many extraterrestrials and beings that are watching the show on Earth right now is because they have said that this is the first time the darkness will be expelled in completeness, and everyone is eager to see what will become of the darkness once the expulsion is complete. So there is something really unprecedented and amazing and incredible happening right now, even though things have been so chaotic and it seems like nothing has gone to plan, and we're just in the middle of it. And it's hard. I think it's hard for us as humans to be going through this experience. But, you know, from what we're hearing from the light beings and the support and the guidance that we're getting from them, you know, they are just cheering us on. And they are so excited that we have made it as far as we have. They are just championing those of us who are still standing. And there's just so much more to come for each of us. So don't lose hope. This is not an easy time, but this is not the end. There are good things coming. Samoiya has talked about a whole bunch of different ways that the shift may happen, and it seems like it may happen differently for everybody. And I'm just going to leave a link in the description pointing to where she does describe that, because I don't want to duplicate a bunch of information that's already on the Fire of the Grid site. But for you particularly in the CE-5 community, I want to share with you something that she said about one of the ways which she thinks the shift might happen. So in one of the visions that she saw a massive spaceship, and on the side it said G.R.A.C.E, and that stood for the Galactic Relocation Atmospherics Cryonics Environment. And she saw in her vision that there were 144,000 people in cryostasis waiting to be put back on Earth, and that there were many of these G.R.A.C.E ships all over the place. And when she asked the light beings during the vision, is this a book that you want me to write? Is this just science fiction? They said that we woke you up first so that you could ding the bell to wake everyone else up. So that is a possible way that we may make the shift. Perhaps we have to make friends with our ET family out there and get used to the idea that we might be walking up a ramp to get into a spaceship to wait until the Earth changes are over. So just something I wanted to share with you guys as a possibility. Like I've been referring to, if you want any more information about Fire the Grid, just go to the talk series. That just covers every single thing, as well as, you know, in the description of the website and all of the bios of all of the social media platforms. There's all kinds of different links and stuff. So there's really a library of information on Fire the Grid, and I will bring forward information when it comes out from Samoiya. The last thing that we know is going to happen for sure is something called World Contact Day. She said that the beings have continuously given her this date over many years. It's October the 29th, 2028. There was an original World Contact Day when humans called out to benevolent extraterrestrials to communicate with them and perhaps get their assistance. So it has something to do with that. Samoiya doesn't have a ton of information about it, but it sounds really promising. It sounds like disclosure is plodding forward somehow, and that 2028 is 5 years from now. So it's like 5.5 years away. So that's not a terribly long time. Well, that's all that I've got for you guys today. If you are interested in firing the grid, then do it. It's going to be a ton of fun. And if you are inspired to share it with some of your loved ones, maybe a fence sitter or two, then you can share some of the links in the description or the Fire the Grid website with the people that you know. And let's see how many people we can get to fire the grid. If you are watching this and Fire the Grid is over, and I know there will be several people that are maybe disappointed that they missed it, don't worry about it. It's been a very chaotic and wild time. This just didn't disseminate the way that we thought it would. And there's still so much time to become high frequency, spread joy and love, program the fifth field with the things that you want to be there when you arrive, and to just really enjoy this last waiting period. Just try to surf out whatever chaos is bubbling up for us, and love each other and be there for each other. As far as the channel, I do still have some awesome interviews that I have not been able to get to in post-production because of Fire the Grid and how much it has consumed every aspect of my life. Thank you so much to my mom, who has been feeding me, doing my laundry, and doing the dishes, because if I were not for my mom, I would not have been able to do this project at all. Anyways, there's really wonderful interviews coming eventually, slowly trickling out on this channel. So hope you enjoy them. Okay, guys, take care.